welcome everyone to the first town hall in a long time. We have a lot of stuff to go through, 50 plus slides in total, a lot of presenting people. So I would like to guide you through the quick agenda. So we will have our president's welcome. Then the biggest portion of the whole thing will be the major initiative updates, where all our board members will provide the updates on what's happening within Magento Association, what was happening in the past, what is happening now, what will happen in the future. Then Jörg will take over with the fireside Q&A session, and then we can all head out for pizza and drinks, I guess, or not. And then we'll have the closing, and then that will all work out just fine. So without any further ado, I will just hand over to Slava for the president's welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Matthias. Thank you. And welcome everyone to our town hall. And first of all, thank you for keeping the video on. I'm missing a lot of you guys. We saw each other throughout the years, events, be it virtual or in person, and it's good to see you again. And it's kind of strange to think that it's been more than 2 years since the last time we hosted the town hall. And I'm happy to bring this tradition back into life today. The MA was founded in 2018, over 6 years ago, just probably about the time this t-shirt was printed from Imagine 2018. And it's incredible to think how much has changed since then. It was actually a time of great uncertainty for the Magento ecosystem because of Adobe's acquisition. We didn't know what to expect. We feared that it might just be like in old eBay times when the new owners didn't know what to do with the platform, or even worse, Adobe would shut down Magento open source, was the fear out there in the community, that we will only have Adobe Commerce going forward. Well, those past 6 years turned out to be much more optimistic. Adobe continued to support Magento and is committed to do that further. Magento brand is strong. Thanks to MA, we also worked with Adobe in 2022 to introduce a PR prioritization process to let community decide which pull requests the internal team of Adobe should be focusing on. And now we're forming actually an open source community council as the next step, so we can speed the process up even further and get majority of community-driven initiatives that are bigger than just normal pull requests merged into the product. We also managed to weather through COVID and not only sustain the Meet Magento events network, but also expand it to new locations like Florida and Philippines, but also bring it back to the places where Meet Magento used to be even before Magento Association existed. For example, Ukraine or France, where we had an event just this week. So I think that's a great success. And most importantly, we now have clarity in the community. We're no longer confused about Adobe's intentions. And we are also no longer confused about roles of different organizations like Magento Association and Magento. And we are also no longer confused on whose responsibility it is to bring innovation into the open source. This paved the way for community initiatives like Magento Association or Magento, and businesses like Huva to thrive and come up with the projects and products to address what Magento Incorporated used to do in the past. MA has also been on a journey of its own. Magento's community is actually the reason we exist. So all the turbulent times apply to us as well. We went through a number of transformations, both in our relationship with Adobe, with community, and even within the board itself, the relationships have evolved. Over the past years, we transitioned from using a generic association management company, which you guys might remember, to now having our own staff on board with Matthias and Jörg, carrying the true open source spirit. Because I'm sure you guys can feel that Matthias and Jörg, they get us, they're just like us, and they live and breathe Magento. The board mindset itself also needed a change. My realization was that at this stage of the organization, the board needs to be not only strategic, but just as much tactical to get things going faster. Matthias, please show us the next slide. So when I was elected as a president for MA for 2025, my first step was not to only hold a strategic session on the areas we want to work on, but also make sure that we have specific board members assigned to have accountability over each of those areas. And today we'll hear from those people, from those accountable board members for each initiative on what we have planned and what even the progress that we have done so far. Please, the next slide, Matthias. But most importantly, I want you to know that we all do this because of you and actually for you, our Magento community. And we also can't make it happen without your involvement. I would argue that this year is probably the most pivotal one for our community and the Magento Association since its formation. As it was announced last week at Adobe Summit, there is now a new offering from Adobe, which we'll also hear a bit more later in the call from Ritesh. And that offering, in my opinion, further kind of clarifies the path of Magento open source and path of Adobe Commerce, which also brings a big opportunity for us, the community of Magento. And in such times of change, I certainly realize it's only human to seek connection, stability, and places where we can belong. And our mission is to have the Magento Association as such center of gravity, where each of the Magento ecosystem members can find a place to contribute, and also an organization that truly has your interest at heart. That's our mission. So with that, welcome again, and let's hear our updates. Danny, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Slava. Well, so first of all, money makes the world go round. So we start this updates. We're starting this update with the financial annual report of 2024. We've already published this as a blog article as well, but I want to go through the financials of the MA organization. Next slide. Yeah, so on the left-hand side, we have the income of MA, which is partly based on the Patreon members. We will see a gradual decline there as we move them over to the other hub platform for memberships. We also receive donations through PayPal, and we have direct invoicing. So that's basically the sponsorships that we invoice out for MA. Where Adobe is a generous part of that fund. There's more funding coming from Adobe as we get more funding from other partners as well. On the right-hand side, we have our expenses. Since the migration from Smith-Bucklin to our own people like Matthias and Jörg, we have our salaries. We have some travel expenses and some overall utilities to keep the organization running. And this makes a total net expense. Last year, we did have a net loss of around 33K as we ramped up with Jörg being added to the team. But based on the further steps, the further updates by Ollie, we'll make sure that we keep in the green this year. One major line to highlight here is the cost of doing business. That 83,000 was for the Meet Magento New York sponsorship. This was a bit difficult for them to invoice directly. That money flowed through to Magento Association in this case. So we're going to go to the next slide for our focus points this year. First of all, operational efficiency based with offboarding Smith-Bucklin. We have a lower cost, and we want to keep it that way in order to get more offerings out there. And of course, we need more funds in order to do more offerings and programs. So that's where Ollie comes in with partnerships and revenue expansion. We want to focus on community and membership growth as well as a revenue stream. And that way we can be maxing out Adobe's contributions as well. One thing that we'll highlight later in this call too is that Magento Association is responsible for the marketing of Magento open source. And if we want to do that right and compete with other platforms, we need to have more marketing budget to push the Magento open source product into the market. So that's also a major highlight during this call as well, to get that marketing efforts started. And now I'll hand it off to...
Oh, next person is Ollie Hunt. Ollie,
There
you
we
ready
go.
to go? Ollie's still here?
You're on mute, Ollie.
I am.
Paging Dr. Hunt.
I fell at the first hurdle. I started and hadn't even unmuted myself. Hello, everyone. My name is Ollie Hunt. It's a pleasure to be here today alongside Laura and Vijay. I'm one of the new directors on the board this year. And it's been a whirlwind first few months, I think, for all of us. And we're very keen and eager to get stuck in. To talk to you today about the community, to talk to you about membership, to talk to you about partners and sponsors. As Danny kind of alluded to, a big task that we have on our hands is to keep the funding wheels moving and to ensure that we have money coming into the Magento Association to be able to fund a lot of initiatives that we're looking at moving forwards. So I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who is here as a member or is here as a partner or a sponsor. Without you, the Magento Association and Magento Open Source just wouldn't exist, it wouldn't thrive. This year, we're really looking to ramp things up. Next slide, please, DJ. So looking at the members and subscribers, as we'll kind of refer to them first. So this is the heartbeat of the community. Many of you on this call today will be members, whether that's individual members or whether that's as an agency member that's on there. I just wanted to kind of frame the two ways that you as an individual or as a member agency can be involved. The first of those is what's referred to as a community subscriber. So a community subscriber is anybody, so whether that's a merchant, whether that's a student, whether that's a developer, that just wants to be informed, wants to stay informed of what is happening with the Magento Association. It's completely free to be a community subscriber. With that, there isn't any voting rights, there aren't any sort of perks and benefits as such. It's that kind of stepping stone into being a part of the Magento Association, getting that news and updates as a passive role. Hopefully, we're going to be increasing the number of members this year, and the membership tiers range from individual members all the way through to some of our platinum members that are very, very involved within the ecosystem as well. Now, with members, it is a voting right member. So every year when we have the board votes, it is our paid up members that have the voting rights to that. And there is a number of perks, discounts, directories and swags, a lot of things that we're working on this year to kind of deliver value to our membership base moving forwards as well. And the big thing there with members is having active contributors. And there are many, many ways that you can actively contribute to the MA and Magento open source initiatives. So big shout out to our existing members that are there. There's been some growth over the last couple of months with some new agencies coming on board. So if there is anybody on this call that would like to discuss becoming a member further or getting more involved, please do reach out. We'd like to speak to you. Next slide, DJ. Now, partners is the other element, and they are critical. And let's refer to these as the ecosystem enablers. As Danny touched on, Adobe is an extremely valuable contributor to the ecosystem. They are our match funding partner effectively. So every dollar that we raise, Adobe matches that dollar. So a dollar raised by the Magento Association is worth $2. With regards to partners, partners is really sort of aimed at those tech and service providers that can really kind of contribute to the ecosystem of Magento. We have a range of packages available to partners to be sponsoring at that range from 6 to 25K a year. They're based on annual durations, and the big thing to kind of highlight back into the community is partners do not have voting rights. Voting rights is purely available to members of the Magento Association. The reason that people partner with us is to engage the communities, to gain that visibility in the events and the campaigns that we're able to run. And we're looking to really sort of ramp that up this year as well with them. Final slide on this one. Now, sponsors are critical, and I think we all see sponsors very much when it comes to Meet Magento time. That's probably the best part of visibility. Now, sponsors play a critical role for actively supporting projects and initiatives. So again, you see a lot of this at the Meet Magento events, but moving forwards with things like the documentation, things like training, marketing of Magento open source, we're looking to raise sponsorship funds to fund specific initiatives. We will be coming out with highlights and updates on the initiatives that we are looking to fund and we're looking to drive moving forwards, and sponsors are key players in this as well. Again, sponsors are non-voting. It is only our membership that has the voting rights. Next slide, please. So again, just
we kind of covered that.
Yeah, we covered this one. To reiterate it again, $1 worth $2 because of the Adobe match sponsoring. So what we're working on at the moment across membership, partnerships and sponsorships is clearer paths for involvement and support. We're looking to improve the communications to our membership base, to sponsors and to partners. We will be coming out with the projects and initiatives roadmap that we are looking to fund over the next year and coming years as well, and also looking to improve more ways for visibility, more ways for influence, and more ways for benefits in our community. And fundamentally what this all leads to is financial security and a stronger, more sustainable Magento community. So I'm talking to you today very much at the beginning of a lot of these efforts that we're putting into place now. If anybody would like to connect with me directly, you can find me on LinkedIn, or you can also reach out to Matthias as well. Both Matthias and myself are working in collaboration to drive a lot of these initiatives moving forward. So anyone that's got can help, wants to get involved, please do reach out to us. That's it for this one. Oh, and it's me again. So hi again, Ollie Hunt back with you. So I've also picked up the event side. So in collaboration with our events committee, there is a stalwart committee within the Magento Association. That's probably one of the original committees, I think. So next slide, please, Matthias. So again, I just want to say a massive, massive thank you to everyone here. For those of you that attend events, that organize events, that speak at events, that sponsor events, you are what has kept this spirit alive globally. So thank you. Next slide. So what's the mission within events? So again, as I say, in collaboration with the events committee, what we're looking to do here is make events more accessible, more impactful, and add more value for all of our members and everyone involved within the Magento community or Magento ecosystem. Next slide. So looking ahead, what's our kind of direction of travel, shall we refer to it, with regards to events? So we kind of want to look to support, endorse, promote, broadcast, champion, cheerlead events that kind of can be grouped into 4 categories. First of those is Meet Magento. So Meet Magento, we all know, that is the flagship Magento event. We're adding more and more events this year, and we're looking to kind of collectively come together to support organizers in a more unified way and to make these the standout events that they've been known for and grow them further. The other element is what I'd refer to as the Magento meetups, or the kind of unofficial Magento events. These are the lifeblood of the community. They're local gatherings. Some of these start as 5 or 6 people getting together in a pub or a cafe to discuss elements of Magento. This is the lifeblood for us, and this is what we want to champion further. And then 2 other initiatives that we're just starting to work on. The first one, we're just starting to kind of work on that first collaboration, which is referred to as the roundtable sessions. So the idea of these is they're more focused, they're invitation only, and they're discussions that are allowing us to get into the heart of things. And then the final piece that we are exploring the viability of this is the Magento Open Source Pavilion. I'll come on to that in a second. Next slide, please, Matthias. So Meet Magento, as I say, this is the flagship event. Huge, huge thank you to the amazing organizers that put on these Meet Magento events. At present, there are 11 confirmed on the calendar this year. There are a couple more that, if we'd waited another 48 hours, would probably be on this presentation sheet that is here. This continues to grow, and we're looking to make sure that the Meet Magento series touches all the corners of the globe that it should do. Next slide. The Magento meetups and events. Now, everyone will know of different localized meetups. I'm obviously in the UK market predominantly. We've got the meetups in London, Minds of Manchester, up in Manchester. You've also got things like Mage Titans, which isn't a meetup. It's its own individual event that's focused on devs. Now, all of these events, anything that is Magento related, truly are the lifeblood of our communities. And it's also the opportunity for people to kind of blood themselves with regards to speaking and talking. You know, with Meet Magentos, we're looking for new speakers to come on board. These types of events are the great ones to kind of blood those talks, to kind of learn the ropes with it. And instead of presenting to 200-300 people, you're presenting to maybe 7 or 8 people, a dog and a cat. So that is brilliant. We are looking to help support, champion and promote these. If you are running a meetup, if you're running any sort of Magento associated event, then we want to be in touch. We want to be able to help support that, whether that is in just broadcasting, whether it's just promoting, getting that onto the events list. But these are the heartbeat. These are things that are very close to my heart as well, personally. Next point. So the roundtable sessions, so I'm going to name call Akuva here. Akuva in the UK has been running what's referred to as the agency roundtable sessions. They run a couple of times a year, and they're a great format. This is one that was done last year, I think, and it's an opportunity to bring the agencies round the table, around other events, to be able to discuss those pertinent topics to the agencies. So what we're going to be looking to do is put together these kind of playbooks so that if you want to run an agency roundtable in your city, or a merchant roundtable which focuses on real-world uses, needs, and feedback, these are another event format that are really, really key. So we want to be able to help champion and push these as well. Next slide. And the big one, it's very easy to put this onto a slide and pitch the idea. It's a different story trying to deliver something like this. But I think if there's enough of us that kind of come together, this is something that can see the light of day. The idea of the Magento, what's happened there? The idea of the Magento open source pavilion is that effectively we need to get out of our, oh God, have I broken it? We need to.
That was me.
That was you. Thank you, Matthias. We need to get out of the Magento bubble. I love our bubble, by the way, but we need to get out of the Magento bubble. Often lines are used as Magento still alive. I hate the use of that phrase because you show something is alive and a community is alive by demonstrating it. So the idea here is that things like think IRX, think an Ecom Expo, think a shop talk, that we actually come together to put together a Magento pavilion that brings together the agencies and the ecosystem partners under the banner of Magento open source at these large events. That is how people see it. We are the best placed people to sell Magento. The agency, the best place to sell Magento and its services that are there. So this is really kind of a little bit of a kind of call to arms. If there is anybody out there that's like, yes, this is something that I as an agency, and these things cost good money, but if this is something that you are very keen to get involved with, I'd like to speak to you. We try and get the first one up, we playbook it, and then anyone else that goes, right, we want to run this in San Francisco, we want to run this in Mumbai, then yes, very keen to hear. Next slide. So what we're working on within events is the central events calendar, so one place for all Magento events, and there's updates to the Meet Magento website to come to become more of an events hub, effectively, of what's going on. And as I mentioned here, there's a lot of behind the scenes work that needs to go into the creation of playbooks and resources. As I say, things like an agency roundtable to be able to create a playbook. So somebody in a city wants to run one of those, we will hopefully have a playbook and some advice on how you can set that up and how you can get supported. So again, it is just the beginning. Feedback and most importantly, contributions are very welcome. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn, but you can also get in touch with the committee, which is committee-events@magentoassociation.org. Really short and snappy email address there for getting in touch. But please do reach out, do get in touch with us, and any support is more than welcome. I think that's me. Thank you very much.
Yep. So I will be handing over to Laura live on Skype. Laura, you here?
I am mourning the loss of Skype. You know. Oh, well,
Here you go.
what are you going to do? So, welcome everybody. I'm new to the board this year, along with Ollie and Vijay. And one of the areas that I really wanted to focus on was community engagement. So this would involve just information about what the board's doing, what Magento Association is doing, and getting that information out there. So I joined the marketing committee as the board liaison, and have to say I was really impressed with how many people were already on it and how much activity was already occurring there. I just feel like between here now and last year, there's so much more information coming out. And that includes a monthly newsletter about the happenings. Look for that at the end of the month. We're looking to put some of those updates on the Magento Association website so you can go back and look and say, oh, this is what's been going on in January, December, to November, that sort of thing. Social media presence has been outstanding. Thank you to Ola for that. She's been injecting a lot of fun into the LinkedIn posts. And we are reviving the podcast thanks to Brent Peterson. He has graciously agreed to step up and host and co-host and do a lot of the background work on the podcast. Our first episode should be coming out shortly, so keep an eye out for that. And then one initiative that I would like to spearhead is a quarterly update on what the board has been doing, because a lot of times it's just hard to know what's happening with everything. So I think just what the board has been focused on, what issues have come up over the last quarter. So that would probably be in a newsletter form and for go on the website. Next slide, please. So Magento open source, as a developer, this was an area that I really, wanted to work on, because essentially without Magento open source, we don't have Magento Association or the community or any of that. So next slide. So we have a mechanism by which the community can upvote PRs and have a direct impact into getting code into the core. This has been championed by Ritesh and Parole, and it's been working out really well for the last couple of years. And as you can see here on the slide, these are the statistics, I think, in total of what's been happening with this. Right now, the focus is on the Magento 2 core and the page builder repositories. Next slide. What we want to do in the future is add additional repositories. This is we're at the initial stages of trying to do this. I know there's been a lot of requests for this, specifically the security repository. We'll have to put in a framework in order to do this, because we don't want to just open this thing up, all the repositories at once, because it would just get a bit overwhelming. So look for that hopefully this year. Another thing we want to do is get some more significant features into Magento open source. Right now, the community prioritization process does focus on bug fixes a lot, and that is actually really important because we don't want things to break. But we want to make exciting features in Magento open source. We want to keep this platform evolving and be able to compete with a lot of the SaaS platforms like Shopify, et cetera. And what we want to do is develop a process. Right now, if anyone who's opened a PR knows, it can be difficult to get something merged. You run into roadblocks that you may not be aware of. There's really no real guide on how to navigate this. So next slide, please. What we want to do is put together a community council. So this has been floated around for a while. And as soon as I heard about this, was something I knew that I really wanted to get involved with. This would be a community group that would work with Adobe. It's to prioritize PRs. These are not necessarily maintainers, although people on this committee could be maintainers if they wanted to. We would find maintainers. We would put together a process. I see the note there. Jakob is already involved. You could put the process together that will make opening PRs and getting them merged easier. Put PRs into categories. Right now, you're presented with a big list of, I think there's 600 in the backlog, and it would be nice to be able to look at these PRs and say, these are admin PRs, these are checkout PRs, and that. And so you can find the areas that resonate with you to upvote. And then who can participate in this? This is anyone who's a member of the Magento Association who has opened a PR. I think you gotta have some skin in the game. So if you want to be on this council and you haven't opened a PR, now is the time to do it. So yeah, that's where we're going with open source. Reach out to me on Slack or LinkedIn if you're interested in joining. I'm going to be putting together some dates for a potential meeting going in the next couple of weeks, trying to get everybody's time zones together. As we have shown, it can be a bit difficult. Thank you.
Time zones are annoying. That's indeed true. Thanks, Laura,
Yes.
for that. So I will hand over to Vatsal, who has a couple updates in terms of partner listing. Vatsal, take it away.
Yep. Good morning, good evening across the world. Today I'm supposed to give you two good updates. It's always the world talks about givers gain. So when we are expecting a lot of things from you guys, these are some exciting points for you to gain back something from what all we are doing. Matthias, next slide, please. When we look at agencies, freelancers, what happens is we keep listing ourselves on different platforms, or we always need a backlink to generate leads. I would say in this troublesome time, if we get any inquiries, it is welcome. What we look at is there is no centralized listing portal, which looks like a Clutch or Good Forms for Magento open source companies, or you can say system integrators. So what we are looking at it is we can have something under membership where all the members can create their company page, they can create profile, they can share their experiences, the kind of projects they have done, or the capabilities. What will happen is, as it is governed by Magento Association, merchants would have a neutral place to look at it, and they can find a trustworthy partner for them. And then agencies and SIs can get backlinks to their websites. So it's important nowadays to get recognized and get traffic to your site. And a lot of people buy backlinks or also post to the different portals. So why not our own portal? So this is going to be soon available in like a couple of months. And this would be available to only members. So this is one of the key reasons one should join MA as a member as well. Next slide, please. And it is not just listing, it goes one step beyond. So what happens is, consider somebody will trust me when I can showcase my great work. So this is the place where, along with the listing, you can start showcasing the great work you have done. And you can present the case studies in the right format. We are going to bring it some uniformity where the community can present the kind of work they have done, and merchants can see what all is possible around Magento open source. And we come out as a winner. When we see the finest work of the world, what happens is we build a trust and credibility in front of merchants. And when the people have a doubt, can Magento do this? Answer is big yes. And this is also going to be connected with your listing. So along with your listing, you can start showcasing the projects which you have done in the past. And I think that's now we're at a good shape. And I think soon it will be there in 6 to 8 weeks. So once this is live, we are giving more reasons to be members and then get leverage out of it. So please stay tuned. And when it goes live, don't wait for that. But when it is live, make sure you take advantage out of it. Thank you from my side.
Thank you here, Vatsal. We stay in Asia with our truly Vijay. Take it away.
Good morning, good evening, everyone. So like one of the slides which Laura has said about contributions, and that is from 2022. So almost 2 years, and you can see that number of PRs and all are very less. So it's like that is something in the past was happening per month, that amount of contributions, and now it is in 2 years. So that's where we wanted to bring back, like in a 3 to 4 years, the contributions from the community side, either code or the documentations or maybe marketing or something is very less. So that's why like we are excited to announce the Magento Champion program. It is similar to the Magento Master, but with a new names, new vibe, new energy. And we welcome everyone to participate in this program. So main focus is here, like you can contribute to the different ways and try to have the same position which we have earlier for the Magento open source. Let's bring back that positions. Have the same trust in the merchant's mind, in the agency's mind, in the individual developer's mind by contributing back. Who is eligible? So anyone can be eligible, any subscriber from the Magento Association can be eligible for this one. You can contribute to the open source, do the code. You can attend the events, speak at the events, or you can organize the events. Even you can do the distributed contribution day, within your countries, or like throughout the like 24 hours contribution day, also something which we are expecting now. In a phase 1, which we are launching the Magento Champion Awards for the global level, where like we are going to have the one committee, we will define the criteria and everything, and that committee will observe throughout the year and how that based on the criteria we are going to select. Still we are finalizing the numbers and everything, but we are launching this program soon. And in a phase 2, we want to recognize the region level also, so that we are not going to miss any small contributor also. Like if you have done the smallest contributions, we wanted to recognize that. So we'll do the recognition at the region level as well as the area specific also, like technical, business, marketing, security. We can define the different areas also. And this announcement can be done with the help of different platforms, different events. Next slide, please. Another thing which I would like to add is the Magento documentations. So right now we have seen that whenever you are searching for like how to install the Magento or anything, next slide, then you always redirect back to the Adobe websites, and over there lots of things are mentioned as Adobe Commerce instead of the Magento open source. So bringing back that confidence back to the agencies and merchants' mind, like, and how easily, like with that SEO, we can have the Magento open source also listed on the search engine when someone is searching about the Magento open source. So for that, we are launching the 2. One is the Dev Docs, mainly for the development teams or someone who is new to Magento and they wanted to learn that how that works. And another one is Merchant Docs for how to configure, how to create the products, how to set up the Magento and all those things. So we are having the 2 repos, and again we have next slide, please. In that we can have like again a contribution. So same as the similar way, like where it will be the public repository available. You can contribute it. We have the maintainers team. They are going to review that, and then we are going to publish on the website. This is still in a draft mode. We are still working out internally, but we'll launch this program also. Yep. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thanks, Vijay, for that. So now we're heading back to the really fun stuff, which is governance, which Slava has taken up. So, Slava, take it away.
Fun. It is fun, Matthias. Let's bring it on. Let's go to the next slide. So this is the area that somebody might think is not fun, but I think it is, because for me, the association is also a legacy, and I dedicated so many years to this organization, and I want to make sure that all the good stuff we managed to build continues on, no matter who is on the board and how the things are getting done, that we continue to move forward with our mission and empower the Magento Association. So that's why those things are important. And there are, besides just managing the overall board engagement and the process and driving everyone's success, this year I also took a few individual items to champion. One of those is the town hall we're on. I really wanted to bring this back. And by the way, I was on the election committee as well, and Andreas von Studnitz here is a fellow board member there, and I asked him, personal opinion, Andreas, what do you think would make MA successful in your eyes in the next year if you would pick one item? And he said town halls. That's simply if you manage to provide updates to the community, no matter what's happening, but just letting us know regularly what's happening, that's already a success. So hopefully that goal number 1 is at least a quarter on the way. We want to keep doing the town halls every quarter. We want to step up transparency. We want to have an open dialogue with you guys. And we don't want this to just be one-way street where we just deliver the content. We want this to be a conversation. So that's why we have at the end also a fireside chat. And please take a look at the chat on Google Meet, where you will find the link to Slido. Drop your question there, upload the other questions, and we'll soon address all of those in the discussion that we have together. Another thing is, of course, keeping the board elections going, and we already managed to have 2 rounds of elections done. And I would tell you, it's not an easy undertaking. So I want to also thank the election committee for their involvement. It's a lot of time to manage the process. And also I want to thank everybody who applied for the board seat. over those past times. It's really appreciated, the courage to step up. I know it's not easy, but it's important. So thank you for all who participated in the process from either the candidate side or the committee side. And we intend to do another round this year and going forward. So we will begin the process soon. And I think in 3 to 4 months from now, we'll have some communication open on the timeline and start gathering the applications. And we will want to do again a direct track where we would let community, you association members, just vote for the person you would like to be on the board. And also we'll have the slate track where election committee would work with the applicants, do the interviews, do the scoring, and propose to the board a slate of candidates to step in from 2026. So this is on track, and please make a mental note, prepare, and I encourage everybody, if you feel like, apply for the board position. Part of all of those things is also bylaws update. Our bylaws were in place, put together by Smith Buckland, the organization who helped to stand up Magento Association back in 2018. So it's more than 6 years old. We did a minor update in the past, but also by now, a lot of things that we try to do in practice, and election is one example of those. Membership structure is another thing. When we gradually came to different tier structures to land where we are, those things are not fully outlined in the bylaws, and also committee work is not fully described on how it should be. And we hit sometimes questions where we're not really sure what we're supposed to do. So my job as part of this long-term legacy and sustainability and making sure that Magento Association has a firm foundation to continue is to make sure that we add some clarity in the bylaws and we make those updates. So while this might not sound like a very exciting item, but it is really necessary to make sure that we move forward. So this is just an example of that work that is not usually visible, but is important and takes time. And I would also like to thank, first of all, to committees that we have in the association and all the members involved there, because it's a big contribution. I understand what it is to spend a lot of your time in a nonprofit like MA, and all of the committee members out there, I want to thank you for putting in your time, putting in your energy, and we can really feel the difference when committees are engaged and when you guys take stuff and deliver. So you might have seen Magento Association is now much more visible on social media, in different marketing channels, and it just doesn't happen on its own. It's our wonderful committee members stepping up and making sure that we get that voice, we get that visibility. And that's an example we want to scale. So not just the marketing committee, but we want all committees. And for example, events committee is also one of the committees that were here from the very beginning, and that committee helps us govern the Meet Magento events around the world, which is a meeting place for all of us offline. And we want to make sure that we scale this and have more success. We want to have more events, and it's not the board that can do everything. As you can see, there is a lot of initiatives, and there are just maximum of 9 directors out there. So it's practically not possible to make this things done with just the hands and minds of the board directors. That's why we need committees, and we need people to help us to bring this vision to life. So I want to thank everybody who participated in the committee. And one of my goals is to make sure that we do better job as the board of working with those committees, that we have proper vision and guidance for those committees, and that we have the necessary committees to drive our initiatives to make them happen. So this is a general strategic direction that we want to take. It requires some maturity from the association to appropriately manage this and leverage the power, but we are going to make steps forward to it. And I want to encourage everybody to apply for the committees that you feel like you are relevant to and can make the difference there. And we would gladly use all of your help. So those are the 4 things that are on my plate besides the general engagement of the board. Matthias, we can go next.
Perfect. So Thanks, Slava, for the update. Even if it seems boring to a lot of people, I think the outline how important these things are is really, really showing. So I would move over to Ritesh, the early one. I hope all the coffee's kicked in by now. Ritesh,
All the coffees have kicked in. Yes, yes, yes.
take it away.
Hello, friends. Hello, everyone. So glad to see everyone here today. So I did have some grand plans. I wanted to go into the Adobe office. I wanted to have that as the background for everyone to see. And then I realized what time it is in the morning, and that didn't happen. So instead, now I'm at HQ2, which is also known as my bedroom. So welcoming everyone from there. Thank you again, everyone across the world for joining. I have noticed the attendee count go up as we've been doing this. So I like to think that people are telling their friends on what a great meeting this is and having them join. So kudos to that. Once again, so happy to represent Adobe here on the Magento Association. And we are definitely continue to stay committed, as you heard in some of the other updates, around helping the community with our PR velocity, which was very anemic a few years ago, which we've definitely helped with everyone's assistance here move up. Also, this year we're engaged more in terms of trying to get additional community feedback in order to see different things that we can do better. And of course, we're always helping with sponsorships and involvement in Meet Magento events and other community events. So super excited to do that. Now, we're coming off of a wonderful Adobe Summit. Next slide, Matthias. For anyone who were not able to join, the sessions are available online. Please listen to them. Try to get an understanding of where Adobe's headed, especially the DX group. And the theme for Adobe Summit, which I'll just touch upon briefly a little bit and then get into the relevant portions, was around delivering personalized experiences at scale. How do we use Gen AI, and how do we bring that all together for companies that are in the Adobe ecosystem and using multiple products? What that translated into specifically for Adobe Commerce, next slide, is our Adobe Commerce as a cloud service. And I know there's probably some questions around that. I'm not going to spend a whole time providing all the details because colleagues of mine that are much more astute in talking about these, they had sessions, and so please listen to them. But I just wanted to touch upon a little bit on what briefly it means, right? So our Adobe Commerce as a cloud service is basically taking Adobe Commerce and delivering a multi-tenant, full stack e-commerce offering. And there's a lot of boxes here, which basically is the culmination of a lot of different initiatives that have already been being worked on and were piecemeal together. And now we're just taking that and offering it as one combined solution. And what that means is, as you can see from the top, a lightning fast performance storefront, product visuals, which is basically our Gen AI capabilities to get people to be able to make content and visual variations, merchandising services through catalog services, and a lot more intricacy around that to help larger customers manage, up to 250 million SKUs. Of course, all combined together with App Builder and combined on the existing Commerce Foundation. Next slide. The second announcement we made was Adobe Commerce Optimizer. Now, this is for customers who recognize that there's some benefit in the top of the funnel, but today, and we hear this from a lot of our customers, like these two products came out from customer feedback on what challenges some of our larger customers are having with Adobe Commerce. And some of them said, like some of this stuff, but we cannot re-platform at this time for whatever reason, budget, timing, management, that type of thing. Is there a way that we can still take advantage? And so that's what Adobe Commerce Optimizer does. It provides the ability to combine some of those front end, top of the funnel functionality, but coupled with whatever third party back end. And if we look in the next slide, this is probably a good summary slide that you should take home. It's basically, look, Adobe's a marketing company, right? So there's different ways that we position things, but ultimately, if you boil it down, they're very similar offerings. They have a lot of the same stuff. One comes with a third party, it attaches to a third party commerce backend, PIM, CRM, any sort of system of record, and then the other one is a full SaaS solution. So how I wanted to break this apart also is, what does this mean for us in the community? What does this mean for folks working with open source? So let's go look at the next slide here. This is my representation of basically now what we have in terms of product offerings. I think this is, I would like everyone here to think of this as an additive and not a replacement, not anything that is deprecating an existing solution. We hear from customers that in order for them to be relevant on Adobe Commerce, in order for them to not go to one of those S platforms, we needed to find a way to deliver Adobe Commerce in a different way. And so if you look at these three offerings, you'll see that nothing changes with our support of Magento open source or the Magento open source code base. For right now, the Adobe Commerce PaaS and on-prem solutions stay as they are, and we're introducing the Adobe Commerce as a cloud service. One of these solutions is going to be right for every merchant. That's what we feel, and that's what we want to, as a joint voice, as we talked about either in a pavilion, at some of our events, we need to be able to show that Magento and Adobe Commerce can cover everyone in sort of one of these solutions. Okay, I promise I'm done here with one last slide. So next slide. How can the community be involved? And I think this is a really important opportunity for the community to get involved now. I feel like there's more opportunity than there has ever been ever. For one, let's evangelize the choices, show merchants that there's multiple options, have select them into the right solution for them. Also for agencies and partners out there, there's a huge opportunity now for migration activities. We're going to have people who are choosing to go from one solution to another, maybe PaaS to SaaS. There's opportunities for folks like yourselves, the sharpest minds in the world, to help these customers do that. It is definitely an undertaking. We are not of the opinion that it's just a switch flip and everyone's on SaaS that wants to be. And last but not least, all of this is powered by the App Builder Exchange Marketplace. The extension marketplace continues to thrive, continues to be there, but if you have a solution, or if your company wants to be represented in a different marketplace for App Builder, now's a great time to join and to actually create that exposure for yourselves. So I'll end by saying a couple of QR codes here to learn a little bit more. Please visit the summit sessions to learn more. My contact information is there. Please reach out if there's any other questions. And again, honored to be a part of this and looking forward to working with all of you going forward. Thanks.
I need to unmute myself. Thanks, Ritesh, for that. I think the clarity is a big one. It's really, really good. So, yeah, you're ready to take it away with the fireside.
Yes, thank you, Matthias. I'll now take over moderating our Q&A session and go through the questions submitted via Slido, starting with the ones that received the most upvotes. So please feel free to open Slido link in the background so you can follow along easily and see the names I'm very likely to mispronounce.
I think we should leave like at least a couple seconds for everyone to get out their phones. for the link, and then
I am able to pronounce the first name of the most upvoted question, though, so this shouldn't be a doozy. Lukash asked, how does the Magento Association and the MageOS Association work together now?
Okay, so I guess we can let Matthias add a little bit of clarity here, since he coordinates most of the relationship, but I can provide you, and Laura as well, right? But I can just assure you that over the time, relationship evolved between MageOS and Magento Association, and I'm happy that we found the place where two organizations can have collaboration together, and also have the aligned responsibilities and opportunities for people to engage. So is it Laura? Laura, would you like to chime in?
Yeah, we're actually talking with them right now to see what we can do together. Definitely feel like both these organizations are going towards the same purpose. So keep update on that. I also have a role in MageOS as a member of the business control committee. So I kind of got a leg in each camp at this point.
Yeah, I would just add that Magento Association has a formal relationship with Adobe. We take care of Meet Magento events, and we have licensing agreement for the Magento brand, which MageOS doesn't have. So it kind of naturally falls the marketing activities, content on the marketing side of Magento events and Adobe liaison role falls more naturally under Magento Association, and both of us do activities related to Magento open source, but MageOS has a little bit more flexibility in the way they work with the code, and think of it also maybe as an incubator for some of the features. So it's easier to get some of the features for Magento open source built first on the MageOS platforms and see how that works out, and then we can work with Adobe to include those as the major updates to Magento open source, like Laura mentioned earlier in her slides.
So next question is by Anonymous, and the question is, what support is available for non-Meet Magento events, e.g. regional meetups, dev events, etc.? Ollie?
Ollie, would you like to take that?
Sure. Thank you very much, Anonymous. Yeah, so the first step on this is to actually create playbooks and resources. A number of years ago, I used to run a meetup in Liverpool, and there isn't currently that kind of central resource center to get the playbooks on how you run a meetup. There's a number of people within our community that already run them, to be able to leverage that kind of insight and knowledge for people that are looking to do the first time ones. So very much it's going to be focused on playbooks, resources to help people that want to organize these and create those forums for other organizers to be able to come together and to be able to share input. That's the critical piece. That is the first piece. There's probably a reading between the lines there, a question on sort of some funding or some money towards these events. The way in which that will be approached is things like meetups, things like sort of dev conferences or dev events, is you're reaching out for sponsorship. So again, how can we support that with playbooks for sponsorship, how you proposition the event, and how other people are kind of getting sponsorship to those sorts of events. So very much the support is focus on playbooks and then utilizing the Meet Magento website and the centralized calendar to be able to publish and promote, and our social channels publish and promote events that are going on within our ecosystem. So playbooks and broadcast, that's how we plan.
Thank you, Ollie.
No problem.
Next question is also by Anonymous. For the Magento champions, please confirm it will not be skewed toward technical contributions. Also, will this process be transparent?
Vijay, would you like to answer?
Yes. So yes, definitely it will be not just technical focus. So it's like a code contributions, developer documentation contributions, merchant documentations. If you are submitting the blogs for our MA websites, you are doing the events, organizing meetups. So there are lots of different ways if you contribute, then considering all those. And the process is transparent. We are going to have the independent committee. They will define all the criteria, and based on that, they will review they will review throughout the years, and based on that, it will decide. Yep, that's how we are going to do it.
Just want to add one. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Ollie.
Just wanted to add one thing. It's a big driver to why this is being branded as Magento Champions. Magento Champions is more inclusive. It's both technical and non-technical because Magento Masters, while I think hugely valuable and we do want to recognize technical contributions that are there, Magento Champions is inclusive to people across the business, marketing, brand, technical, and those contributions. It takes a village to raise this, so 100%.
Yeah, just one. Go ahead, Slava. Sorry.
Sure. I would just add that it's not Vijay who's just going to sit down and decide who are the Magento champions, right? So that's what Vijay mentions. We will have the committee for, which will hash out specific criteria to make sure it's both transparent and just and inclusive. So, of course, we don't want to just have technical contributions recognized, but that's an important part. But we also want to recognize non-technical contributions and make this program as good as possible. So that's an opportunity for anyone interested to also engage. So be on the lookout for a call for committee members and join if you're interested.
Yeah, one small minor addition at the end from my end, because I have quite some experience running programs like this. In terms of transparency, yes, it will be transparent. No, it won't be completely transparent. Here's why. Basically, what you do by contributing in whatever way, could be technical, could be speaking at a conference, attending a conference, taking photos, posting on social media, all those things will basically accumulate points. However, we will not disclose the exact distribution of points, mainly because people will then start tricking the system, by creating bogus points and just artificially boosting the points that they come up with. And you can think of it pretty much like any game that's currently working. It's a balancing act, and we will definitely be rebalancing over time if we see that certain activities yield too many points, so it's no longer fair. So we will disclose which actions will yield points, but we won't disclose how many points exactly, because we don't want people to troll the system pretty much.
Okay, next question from Yignash Sarathia. I hope I didn't butcher your name too bad. What does the future hold for freelancers and independent developers in relation to Magento SaaS and upcoming Magento versions?
Ritesh, would you like to add here?
I can kick off, and then I'd love for others to add on to this. I think with the announcement of the SaaS offering, I think there's a lot of opportunities now. Like I mentioned a few minutes ago, customers are going to need help with migration activities. We already talked to folks, at least on the Commerce Optimizer side. Hey, how do I get my catalog information from this particular CRM or PIM and into this sort of catalog service of Adobe Commerce? And so that's where folks like yourselves can help out. Also, as Laura mentioned, with the Community Council, we already have some velocity, but really looking to supercharge that and make sure that the right initiatives are being handled and the right PRs are being pushed through. So I think there's a lot of opportunities, and maybe there's stuff that we haven't even thought of. I'm open to suggestions and ideas for how people can get involved. But I think this is with these announcements comes some opportunities for us to get creative. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, and Ritesh, you mentioned also app builder extensions, and this is also an opportunity because the marketplace is kind of getting a reset, because that's the new architecture compared to PHP extensions, and you have a distribution platform there. So I see one opportunity for independent developers or freelancers is to build some of those app builder integrations, and you can get exposure early on the Adobe Commerce Market, because Adobe is going to promote the marketplace, and this can be an opportunity to make your name and hopefully some money there.
Thank you. Next question by Neil from Akuva. We should shout about our success stories. Is there a plan to amplify case studies for brands on Magento open source?
I'll take that one.
Danny?
For sure, yes, there is. First of all, I was driving the initiative to create the Magento open source marketing website last year, which we launched at Meet Magento UK about a year ago. And within the marketing committee currently, we are strategizing to have case studies or success stories being published on that site, so that the Magento open source brand will be amplified, because we need to do that more. So Neil, if you have success stories, because we need to have them from the community, it would be too time consuming for a voluntary marketing committee to write those case studies. So we're really looking towards the community to have those case studies, which we can rewrite and make available on the Magento open source marketing site. So if you can reach out to me, that would be great, and I will point you in the right direction.
And to add to it, as I mentioned, there will be partner listing, and then it is more of a showcase as well. This showcase is all about this. You keep writing your case studies and world can see what all is possible. So it is part of it.
Thanks, Jörg.
I think we might have a mute thing going on.
Is my mic working now?
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, headset. Next question by Ozzy, also from Akuva. With Adobe shifting focus to SaaS and possibly global SIs, I'm sorry, old glasses. How will the MA support smaller agencies and developers relying on Magento open source?
So, Ollie, yeah.
Ollie, got a take on it? Otherwise, I can share some.
Yes, I do have a take on it. Very much with regards to the Magento Association is responsible for two key areas: Magento open source, the promotion and champion of that. Magento open source is the code base on which the let's call it the plethora or suite of Adobe commerce solutions sit atop of that. Also things like the Hoover pieces coming into play as well. So there is going to be a sort of amplified promotion of Magento open source, where we're talking about things like the Pavilion and trying to get people to buy into that. That is all about Magento open source as the code base and that community that is there. Magento open source is for me, one and the only solutions that allows for complete and utter control and complete and utter customization. There are unique cases where there is no other viable solution but Magento open source, and we're not doing enough generally to kind of promote that piece of it. So I think there are a lot of unified efforts. It's not about a Magento open source versus or an anti-Adobe thing. It's one product, or sorry, I'm not going to say the word product. Magento open source is not a product. It is one solution or one path route that can be put in place. So yeah, very much to be championing that, very much to broadcast the voice, and very much to promote the community that is there as well. That's my view and take on it.
Yeah, you know, I just have a couple of seconds that I'll just add on to what you said, Ollie, right? I just want to make sure that everyone understands here, this isn't a seismic shift in how everyone has been viewing the community. I don't believe, and Adobe doesn't believe at this point, that the SaaS solution is going to come in and shift a bunch of folks from open source. I believe that people who are on the Magento open source code base are there for a reason, are there because folks like yourselves are providing them great support and helping them to grow their businesses at the scale that they need. We are targeting, from an Adobe perspective, a different type of enterprise customer who is integrated with other Adobe products, who needs to transfer information from one solution to another. And so the simple way of saying is that the support that MA has provided will continue in probably the same way, and the work that all of you are doing continues in the same way, except now there's an additional opportunity here, as Slava mentioned earlier, to be able to integrate in different areas. So I'm actually excited about the possibilities, and I think this brings our community together a little bit tighter against some of the incumbents outside, and I think now we've got more solutions to fight external with.
Yeah, thanks, Ritesh, for your part. I would just add that from Magento Association's support side, overall, that's where multiple initiatives that we do are taking place, and that's why I called on Ollie. Because of the partnerships, because of the partner program is one way for those smaller freelancers and agencies to engage and become a partner of MA and get the benefits in exchange, which will also include the showcase. You can list your case studies, also the partner listing where we will list agencies. And we want to have that hub where merchants looking for Magento open source based solutions can go and see who are the solution providers out there that work with the platform. So that's MA's role here. And also we do that coherently through other initiatives like Meet Magento events, for example. That's another good place supported by MA for those agencies to come and meet merchants who might need those kind of services. So that's the support that MA provides overall. Basically in everything we do, it's for the product and to promote the users and the ecosystem there.
Yeah. Thank you, Slava. Next question by Anonymous. How many members does the Magento Association have?
So I'll take this one. We actually, because it relates to bylaws, right? We have multiple thousands of members. The problem is that paying members is just a tiny fraction of that group. And that's the way MA was started. We had two tiers of membership, free membership and paid membership. And first we were driving all of our efforts towards free membership. And I believe at this point we have over 4,000 people in our database as free members. Although on the paid member side, we have just a couple hundred. And we have evolved the program there. So the individual membership now has different levels. So it's not really the same as it used to be some years ago on Patreon, where you could just have, few tiers for individuals. Now we have opportunity for agencies to become members and to make a more meaningful contribution to Magento open source and all we do there. So we want to grow those numbers and we want to build the ecosystem. But for exact numbers, Ollie, you can share what do we have currently on the paid member side.
I don't have that to hand. Matthias, do you have that to hand? And while you're bringing that up, one of the things I will add with this is with regards to the membership and why it is so important, is a voting right membership. The more members that we have, the more voting rights we have, we can start to evolve that even further. So we talk about the funding of initiatives and projects that's going on. This is very much driven by our membership base. Everyone that sits on the board is a volunteer out of the membership base that is there. More members, more voting members, the more say in the direction of travel that we go with things. And for me, only 3 months coming into the board now, this year feels like a real sea change year, where there is a significant amount of foundation building, a significant amount of initiatives being kicked off and started that is really going to start a snowball effect. So, I'm not going to stand here and go, sign up and put more money in. I'm going to stand up here and say, sign up and be a part of it. If you're not currently a member and you're an agency or you're an individual that's involved, by becoming a member, a voting member, what I refer to as the card-holding member, you have that say. You're around the table. Numbers, Matthias, do you have it to hand?
Sorry, I was working through some other questions in the background. What numbers do you need?
Yeah, I believe we have on the membership side 205 paying members, and that includes organizations for which we plan to introduce more votes. So that number of votes would be probably in the neighborhood of 300 plus. And yeah, that's the answer.
And I think on the community subscribers, we're about circa 4,000 at the moment.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Should be way more though.
Should be. We'll get there.
Okay, next question, also by Anonymous, who's asking a whole lot of questions today. Does the Community Council exist or have anyone on it yet? If not, what's the timeline?
I can answer
Laura?
that. Yes, it is in early stages. We've reached out to a couple of people that have been active with the Magento Association about putting the committee together. So it's going to start out with a handful of people, and then we're going to put out a call for volunteers shortly, like shortly as in probably the next week or two. The timeline is it's hard to say. What I really want to do is be able to get this thing up and running by end of summer, which is have the processes in place, working with Adobe to get, prioritize PRs within their uploading process. So that is the hope, is end of summer, or maybe beginning of fall, because all of Europe goes on vacation for summer. So
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Next question by Sanjay Shial. Can third-party extensions and modules be installed in Adobe Commerce SaaS?
So Ritesh, would you?
Yeah. So the extensions, the PHP extensions cannot, but using App Builder, you can create App Builder apps that can then work in the Adobe Commerce SaaS. And, at Summit, we did have some partners who've already committed to building some apps for SaaS. And so if you want to be able to look at that marketplace, it's a different one. It's the Adobe Exchange marketplace, and you can see the App Builder apps there and build more because it's still very new. And we do have a lot of educational resources for folks trying to learn about App Builder and how it works. So feel free to reach out to me and I can put you in touch with the right resources that you need.
Thank you, Ritesh. Next question is by Nitin Yain. Would love to see how we can support Magento Pavilion initiative, roundtable, and local meetups. That isn't a question at all.
Amazing news, Nitin. Connecting me on LinkedIn, and amazing.
Okay, awesome. I guess we already answered the champions one, and we can go to Gitansh's.
Next question by Gitansh. In light of the evolving market and competition, what steps are we taking to stay competitive? How are we making it composable and lighter?
I guess the question lacks clarity a little bit on who we are here. Is it MA or is it developers out there? Laura, perhaps, do you have thoughts here?
When I see composable, I'm wondering if this is a question about composable commerce. Are we talking about the code base? I'm not 100% sure what the question is asking either.
This question two ways, right? For the code base, the Magento open source is managed by Adobe, so we can create pull requests for it. And with the Community Council, we can try to drive it in a direction to make it more composable and lighter. If we look on the marketing perspective, I do think that we need a mind switch, because before Adobe took over, Magento was marketed by Magento Inc. And currently there's no legal entity doing that anymore. So we really need to shift focus as a community to take this into our own hands and go and start to market the Magento open source product or platform. And that's where we need the help of the community. The community needs to come together. We need to put funds together in order to get the pavilion up and running, in order to have SEA campaigns running, and to compete to other platforms such as Shopify.
Thanks, Danny.
And also to like slightly add to that, we do have a process in place. If somebody from the community reaches out to us with like a big feature, big functionality idea, we reach out to the engineering team with Adobe first to basically test the waters a little bit, whether that might interfere with something or what the likelihood of those things getting merged is. We consider the likelihood of something getting not merged very, very low. However, we don't want people to sink a lot of their voluntary time into something that then has to get pounded off because it interferes with certain business interests, right? But we have a process in place for that. That's why we also have the roadmap sessions at several Meet Magento events where we sit together. Somebody comes up with an idea. We sit down with Ritesh Parul and the engineering team and basically run those ideas by basically to make sure that we're clear of any shallow waters or reefs, so to speak. Thank you.
Great. So we're almost at time, so we have time for 1 or 2 questions left. Jörg, please fire away.
Alrighty, next question by Nitin. What is the difference between patrons and individual members?
I'm going to take that. Patrons is the old system that we're slowly phasing out. So technically speaking, there's no difference internally. Jörg and I treat this the same on a technical level. So everybody gets the same pieces of information. Everybody gets invited to vote, etc., etc. However, we want to phase out Patreon over the course of possibly this year. That's the current plan.
I need to unmute. Next question by Anonymous. What is the status of Aileron 75's proposal on hexagonal architecture for developing modules?
Maybe I can pick it since I'm the one that is mentioned here. Hello, everyone. So it wasn't a proposal. It was just a talk that I made, I think, in 2021. I don't remember. It was just a talk where I described a way of developing extension in a decoupled way using the hexagonal architecture principles. So there is no status. It's just up to people to get it. So thanks for the mention, but I don't think it's a proposal. There is a proposal anywhere. Thanks.
All right, this concludes our Q&A, and so I hand over back to Slava for the closing words.
Sure.
Thank you,
So, yeah, thanks a lot, Jörg, for moderating the session, and thanks to all the participants for asking questions, and board members for replying. I think this went well. We still have some questions left in the backlog, perhaps for the next time, which is a good sign. If we couldn't cover everything within 30 minutes, that shows our community is very, very energetic and interested in many things. So I'm really glad to see that. One of the questions there that I saw that we didn't answer is how often are we going to have those town halls going forward? And the answer is our goal is to have 4 town halls this year, so roughly 1 a quarter. And we're looking to see you again at the next town hall with updates on those initiatives and perhaps any new developments that we will have. And in the meantime, once again, I want to say that Magento Association exists for you, for members, for our community, and we are inseparable. So we here serve to the community, we advance community interest, and that's what we intend to do in the future as well. And I would like to also encourage you to get involved, because that's the other part of it. MA is not some separate corporation entity. We're all volunteers here. We all kind of volunteer our time, except Matthias and Jörg, who are on staff. And our success depends on everybody's contribution. So I want to thank everyone who contributes, all the board members, our staff, also committee members, and everybody in the partner section, in the member section, all who help us advance our mission. This wouldn't have been possible without you. So please keep putting your energy in. And I hope some of you who were not contributing before got some inspiration today, a little bit of window into what's going on. I hope you like, and I hope that you will get engaged and join our initiatives. So with that, I want to thank everybody for your time today. Thanks for your participation. Thanks for your support of MA. And we'll see you on the internet and in a few months on our next town hall, and also on the Meet Magento events, of course. Thank you.